It's probably the biggest question any of us can ask, right? What really happens after that last breath? Well, today we're going to tackle this head on, using our source material to explore one of the most profound topics there is. For so many people, this isn't just some philosophical puzzle to kick around. It's a deeply personal question, and you need a confident answer. But in a world that's all about feelings and opinions, where does that kind of certainty even come from? Well, according to the sources we're digging into today, the answer isn't found by looking inside ourselves for some kind of special feeling. No, it's found by understanding a kind of cosmic map, the actual geography of the afterlife as laid out in the biblical texts. So let's get into it. First up, we need to tackle the ultimate question itself. We've all heard the simple answers, haven't we? Things like, well, did you pray a certain prayer one time? But the material we're looking at argues that real, lasting assurance goes so much deeper than that. And this is where things get really interesting. The sources reframe the whole issue. Assurance isn't about how you feel at any given moment. It's about understanding your actual location within a much, much larger story, a divine narrative that has a clear beginning, a middle, and an end. Okay, so let's start exploring this map. Now, before we can even talk about the final destinations, we have to understand the temporary places. These waiting rooms, if you will, described in ancient scriptures for everyone who died before the time of Christ. The first location on our map is a place called Sheol in Hebrew, or Hades in Greek. Now, this wasn't the final hell that we might picture today. Think of it more like a shadowy waiting realm, a place where everyone's destiny, both good and bad, was kind of held in suspense, waiting for a future final judgment. But Hades wasn't just one big gloomy place. It actually had different compartments. Our source points to the famous parable of the rich man and Lazarus, which describes this place of comfort for the righteous called Abraham's bosom. You can picture it as a peaceful, almost garden-like waiting area, totally separate from the place of torment. Now, the map also shows a completely different kind of spot. These underworld prisons known as the Abyss or Tartarus. And here's a really key distinction our sources make. These places were not for humans. The term Tartarus, which was sometimes borrowed from Greek thought, was used to describe a sort of high-security holding cell, specifically for rebellious supernatural beings. Think fallen angels. And that brings us to the great turning point in this whole cosmic story. This is the pivotal event that's, according to our sources, fundamentally redrew the entire map of the afterlife. Christ's journey into the underworld after his crucifixion. So, what did this journey actually accomplish? Well, two absolutely critical things. First, he essentially emptied Abraham's bosom, leading all those righteous souls who had been waiting right into God's presence. And second, he declared his authority over the entire realm of the dead, taking, as the book of Revelation puts it, the keys of death and Hades. He's in charge now. And this is a total game changer for believers today. The argument is that because Christ conquered that realm, those who belong to him get to bypass it completely. The moment they die, they go directly into his presence. The old map has been permanently updated. So, all of that brings us to the final permanent locations on our map. See, everything we've talked about so far, Sheol, Hades, the Abyss, all of that was temporary. Now we're looking at the eternal realms, the ones decided at the final judgment. Okay, so this visual really helps lay it all out. Look at the column on the left. Those are the temporary, pre-judgment places, like Sheol and the Abyss. Now look to the right. Those are the eternal, post-judgment realms. This makes it super clear that Sheol, or Hades, is not the same thing as the final lake of fire. They are two totally distinct places, separated by that final judgment. The lake of fire, which is also called Gehenna, is described as the ultimate, final destination for all cosmic rebellion. That name, Gehenna, actually comes from a real valley right outside of Jerusalem that was known for its constantly burning trash. A pretty powerful image for final separation. And according to the source material, this place is currently empty. It's awaiting that final judgment. On the flip side, the final home for the redeemed is not some floaty, disembodied existence up in the clouds. The source describes it as a new creation, a restored physical heaven and earth, basically a renewed Eden where God literally lives with humanity together again. Okay, so this brings us full circle, right back to our central question. With this entire cosmic map laid out, how does a person find genuine, confident assurance about their own final destination?
The sources we're looking at argue that the final judgment doesn't work like some kind of cosmic scale, trying to weigh your good deeds against your bad ones. The decisive question is all about allegiance. It's about relationship. It's not about your performance. It's about which kingdom you belong to.
So here's the bottom line. Assurance isn't found in your feelings, which go up and down, or in your own moral track record. It's grounded in these objective historical claims. The entire foundation for a believer's confidence is what Christ has already done. He's the one who conquered death, rules the afterlife, and holds all the keys. And that realization just completely reframes the whole search for assurance, doesn't it? It moves the focus away from all that anxious self-examination, away from our own performance, which, if we're honest, is always going to fall short. And instead, it points us to the one ultimate question that this entire cosmic map has been leading to. According to this biblical framework, your eternal destiny and your confidence in it boils down to this single pivotal question of allegiance.